Every once in a while, a year comes along in gaming that just feels different. A year where everything seems to click into place perfectly. And look, from everything we're seeing, 2026 is shaping up to be one of those years. It is looking absolutely, completely stacked with heavy hitters. And today, we're going to break down exactly why it might just be the year that changes everything.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the perfect storm brewing with hardware and developer skill. Then, we'll get into the return of some of gaming's biggest icons. After that, we'll explore how some familiar worlds are getting a whole new set of rules, dive into some seriously blockbuster-level storytelling, and finally, we'll celebrate a few legendary niche titles that are making a huge comeback.
So, the big question, why 2026? What makes it so special? Well, it all starts with this unique convergence of factors, and right at the very heart of it is the hardware that's probably sitting under your TV right now. Let's talk about what I like to call a console's twilight years. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S, they've been out for a while now. But that's not a bad thing at all. In fact, it's the absolute sweet spot. This is that perfect moment when developers have stopped trying to figure out the tech and have started to truly, deeply master it. And when that mastery clicks in, that's when developers can finally take the leash off. They can push the technology to its absolute breaking point. We're talking about things like genuinely seamless open worlds, AI that feels scary smart, and lighting so realistic you forget you're even in a game. This is when we, the players, get the most ambitious, the most polished games of an entire generation. So what does all that power and skill actually get us? Well, for one thing, the return of the titans. We're talking about the absolute legends, the names that practically built the genres we love. And in 2026, they are back in a big, big way. And of course, you just can't talk about titans without talking about this one, Grand Theft Auto 6. It's been hit with leaks, delays, and a rumor mill that literally never stops. I mean, it's been one of the most anticipated, and let's be honest, frustrating waits in gaming history. And yet, none of that has even put a dent in the hype. So why, after all this time, does the excitement just keep building? It's because of this, right here. Rockstar Games has earned our trust. After they delivered a masterpiece like Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that was just a masterclass in technology and storytelling, they've built up so much goodwill that fans are willing to wait, because we all know it's probably going to be worth it. And speaking of legends, Lara Croft is back. After a whole trilogy that focused on her gritty origin story as a young survivor, we are finally getting to see her in her prime. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis is a full-on remake of the 1996 original, reintroducing us to that confident, globe-trotting, experienced adventurer that we all fell in love with years ago. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about bringing back old favorites, it's about completely reinventing them. In this next trend, we're seeing developers take these series we know and love and just flip the script on the core gameplay. Okay, take Resident Evil. The series has had two massively successful styles lately. You've got the intense, over-the-top action horror of RE4, and then you've got the tense, hide-under-the-bed survival horror of Village. So what's Resident Evil Requiem doing? Basically, it's saying, why not both? It's got two protagonists and lets you switch between first and third-person views. It is literally merging the best of both worlds. Now check out this wild shift. The original Control was this incredible, mind-bending third-person shooter. Its sequel, Control Resonant, picks up the story but completely changes the genre. Now it's a melee-focused action RPG. Same bizarre world, totally new way to play. It's a huge gamble, and I'm here for it. And then you've got Star Wars. For years and years, the focus has been on the Jedi, right? The lightsabers, the force powers. It's a power fantasy. But Star Wars Zero Company is taking a hard left turn away from all that. Yeah, instead of using the Force, this game is a tactical, turn-based RPG. It's all about an elite special forces unit during the Clone Wars. Think XCOM, think Fire Emblem, but in the Star Wars universe. This is a grounded, gritty, strategic take on a galaxy far, far away, and it's a super fresh idea. And that level of ambition, it absolutely extends to the storytelling. Our next category is all about games that aren't really just games anymore. No, these are full-blown, playable, cinematic blockbusters, complete with A-list talent and Hollywood-level production. First up, check this out. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. You've got Captain America teaming up with T'Challa's grandfather, the World War II-era Black Panther. That's cool enough, but the real headline, the thing that has everybody buzzing, is the writer, Amy Hennig. We're talking about the legendary writer behind the first three Uncharted games. Her return to this kind of big, cinematic action is a massive, massive deal.
And from the very same studio that gave us those incredible Spider-Man games, we're getting Marvel's Wolverine. But let's be clear, this is not another friendly neighborhood adventure. This thing is M-rated. It's described as brutal and visceral. And get this, it's not an open-world game. It's a focused, linear, cinematic story that promises a much more personal and probably much darker take on Logan.
And finally, James Bond is back in the world of gaming. And honestly, he couldn't be in better hands. The new game, 007 First Light, is being made by IO Interactive. You know, the masterminds behind the absolutely brilliant, critically acclaimed Hitman series. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. Imagine combining the intricate, clockwork, sandbox-level design of Hitman with the high-octane action and slick espionage of James Bond. The potential here is just astronomical. We could seriously be looking at a future Game of the Year contender, no question.
Okay, for our final category, let's celebrate the cult classics. These are the games that, they might not have the billion-dollar marketing budget of a GTA, but they command some of the most loyal, most passionate fan bases in the entire world.
And they do not get much more legendary than this one. A full remake of Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, is coming. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a horror game where your only weapon against these absolutely terrifying ghosts is an old camera. The original is considered a masterpiece of pure fear, and its return is just huge news for horror fans. Next up, we have Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Now, the most exciting part about this is the team behind it. This new game is being made by the same people who gave us Fire Emblem Three Houses, which was the game that took this series from being a beloved niche franchise to a full-on mainstream blockbuster. And a huge reason Three Houses was so successful was this one clever little tweak to its core mechanic. See, the classic formula was brutal. If a character died in battle, they were gone. Forever. But the modern games introduced a limited rewind feature. It made the punishing strategy way more accessible, but without losing the high stakes. It was a brilliant change that brought in a whole new army of fans. So when you put it all together, when you look at the genre-defining icons, the wild experimental sequels, the Hollywood-level epics, and these beloved cult classics, 2026 is just overflowing with quality and variety. It really feels like a year that has something incredible for every single type of gamer out there. Which, of course, brings us to the final, ultimate question. With all of these titans clashing, Grand Theft Auto, Tomb Raider, James Bond, Wolverine, and so many more, which one is going to rise above the rest? Which game is going to be the one we're all still talking about years from now? Which game do you think will truly define 2026?